Right.
Here's what your colleague Bucci proposed to Ryan Whitney. He said, would you trade Draisaitl and Fogle for last year's Vezina winner, Allmark, DeBrusque, Patra, Lysell, and a 2026 first? That's what Bucci said to Ryan Whitney on Twitter.
The only reason I would question that is, like, I get the pieces there, but like, yeah, I don't know. Is Allmark going to thrive in Edmonton?
No. I mean,
is Allmark going to thrive in Edmonton? That defensive structure is
that's
so much different.
thing.
And
Yeah.
Allmark does face like the Bruins don't give up all that many high danger chances, right? Like they're very much a responsible defensive team. So they might give up like mid-range to low chances. Like a lot of those shots they face are not scary chances often, right? So like with Edmonton though, it will be. So is Allmark going to perform at that level in another system? I don't know. I don't buy much into the reigning Vezina thing. Like I'm not trying to be a Allmark dissuader, but I'm also saying, like, is this a sustainable path for Allmark, especially on another team in another system? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the Bruins have had a lot of success with their goalies and their goaltending. You know, goalie Bob is, revered around here for being able to develop goalies. But they've really had success with all the guys that they've had in recently. And I think a big part of that is their system and the type of chances they allow. Omar comes over from Buffalo. He wasn't great there. But he's flourished here. Tuukka Rask flourished here. Tim Thomas flourished here. There's been
Yaroslav Halak did. A lot of people
had a really good season here as a backup. So they, when guys come here and they get into the system, the Bruins' defensive structure really helps out the goaltending. So I think if he does go somewhere else, there's a chance that it goes the other way, and then the other teams like looking at the general manager or the fans are and saying, "What the hell is going on?"
What is that? Yeah, what is that?
From the Bruins perspective, though, like if there's a way to get Draisaitl, I do think you entertain. Like, here's the thing: like the Bruins are like, even the start aside, I know that. Listen, I'm guilty of this too. Part of the reason I wanted to come on this podcast was to apologize to the Bruins fan base for calling them essentially a wild card team at best at the start of the season, before the season started. My prognostications are not going well with the Bruins this year. Let's put it that way. But like it's just not like center depth, blah blah blah. Remember those days?
Great.
Remember those days? We're all having a great laugh at that. But like they are the Oilers have the pressure of being a cup or bust team. The Bruins have the benefit of not like that pressure is not as prevalent for this team as it is for Edmonton, right? But they could also be in that same bucket. Like, okay, we could go on a run here. Like, we really could. Is it going to take one more high scoring center to do it? You know what I mean? Like, I do want to see how this Bruins team performs in the trenches when they have look, I'm not a schedule guy, but I am interested in seeing how this team does when it's like a stretch of like really strong, like upper echelon teams back to back to back. You know what I mean? When they have a stretch of like 5 games where they're playing like cup contenders and playoff teams, and you know what I mean? So that'll be an interesting stretch for sure.
Yeah, man, it will be for someone like a Matt Patra. And